You would think of perhaps in wheelchairs. It includes folks that have arthritis, folks with various forms of diseases. It includes family members. It doesn't have to be the primary producer. Perhaps they have children that have severe cases of ADD or something else, and that's affecting their ability to produce on the farm, taking their time. What can we do to help that farm family be able to produce at 100% of what they're capable of producing? How can we slow a farmer down from being able to produce at their full capacity? We consider that fair game for AgrAbility to come in and help. Unfortunately, there are barriers to increase dependence for people that have issues like this. There are attitudes, the attitudes of the public, the attitudes of the family, and their own attitudes. Or, oh, well, this person has had some type of an injury, they shouldn't be out there on the farm anymore. How discouraging do you suppose that is to the person whose life is farming? It's not just a job, it's their life. It can be very discouraging. What about the person themselves? Oh, well, I can still do it. I don't have to have any help. And so they put themselves in a position to encounter disabilities, secondary injuries. Because once you have a primary injury or a primary disability, it puts you in a position that you need to be a little bit more cautious on the side of whatever that disability is so that you don't re-injure yourself or get another injury as a result. You know, we treat people that have deafness or hearing impairments, the effects of aging. These are all things AgrAbility works with. We work through education, workshops. I just got back the first part of this week. I was in South Dakota on the Pine Ridge Reservation where we did an AgrAbility workshop there. It was wonderful. South Dakota AgrAbility is going to be working with the Pine Ridge Reservation folks to increase their ability to have self-sustaining gardens, to help make their own food, to help produce that, and eventually to help feed the community. These are people that deal with a wide variety of conditions, from mental and emotional health conditions to addictions to physical impairments. And we want to be involved with that. South Dakota just got a new AgrAbility project, and we're terribly excited about what they're doing. We're hoping that the things they do on the Pine Ridge Reservation will be a model, will be something that can be replicated on other Native American lands as well. And so we're really excited about that. We work through networking. We leverage our efforts with other groups. We work through peer support. We work with direct assistance and marketing. I could say more about each of these, but I don't want to take the time this afternoon. If there's something you have a question on, I'll be happy to answer that later. Or you're welcome to talk with me in the back at our table, which is right through the doors in front of me here. What does AgrAbility not provide? We do not provide direct funding, but that doesn't mean that we don't help you find the funding. AgrAbility kind of acts like a hub. If you have a problem on your farm, let's say you've had a knee replacement, things aren't going very well, and now you're having trouble getting up on that first step of the tractor or the combine or whatever it is, you come to us, we'll come out, assess the situation, what can we do? You just need a lower step put on the tractor. We'll find somebody that can do that for you, and we'll find funding. It will come from us directly, but we will find people who can fund that. Do you need a lift, an actual lift to get you from perhaps a wheelchair, if you're in a wheelchair, right into the driver's seat of the combine? We can do that. That's a high dollar item, but we get vocational rehabilitation involved, and we get many other services involved to make it possible. Probably 95% of the people that we help service are able to receive that type of assistive technology free of charge to them, because there are a lot of people in the United States interested in helping farmers who are the experts in their field, no pun intended, but they are the ones who know their work better than anybody. And we don't want to lose them as a result of some disability if they can continue to work and share the expertise that they have. So it's our goal to keep them farming, keep them doing what they love most to do. There are some programs that have tech project partners that can provide AT. Most of the funding comes, as I mentioned, through state vocational rehabilitation systems, but there are many other agencies that help out to fund assistive technology where it's needed as well. We have a number of educational resources. The best place to start if you'd like to know more about AgrAbility is just to access us on the web at agrability.org. And there is a variety of resources there. Oops. Sorry about that, I hit the button. And there are downloadable resources. All of the books, or the majority of the books that you'll see on our table out back here, are actually online in PDF format that you can download. You can look at them online. We hope to show a couple of videos here. Do we have sound?
Yes.
We do have, good. We hope to show a couple of videos here in a minute. And all of those videos are also accessible through our website online. There are many things there that can help you as a farmer. The toolbox is one of them. That is on our website. The toolbox has about 1,400 different products and ideas that make ranging or farming easier, make it safer. There are just an ingenious number of things there that make life simpler. We were showing on the reservation earlier this week some of those tools. A stand-up planter. Now we're talking about people who are doing small gardens, things that are an acre or less, and so they're doing it by hand. For many of them, it gets difficult to bend down and to plant seed after seed or bulb after bulb. And this thing is just a tube, which they can actually make out of PVC piping, or you can buy it commercially. And they put it in the ground, step on it, has a little hole. They just drop the seed in up at this height so they never have to bend over. And as they go forward, they step on it. That covers the seed, and they move on to the next one. They can go right down the road doing that. Very little time, no back problems. It's great. There are a lot of ideas like that, but you also have the high-end assistive technology products in the toolbox as well. Give it a look when you have a chance. I think you'll enjoy the things you find there. We do have several brochures on special items. Back problems are probably the #1 problem that we see in AgrAbility among farmers. There is a book at the back. This one, it says "Back on the Farm, Back in the Saddle," and feel free to pick that up if you know others.
This one. Computer.
Do the one with the caption. You may need to click on here. Just that. That's it. It should be sound. Any idea where the sound's going?
No, that's it. Chuck and I always gonna not have these issues. This is the soundboard. If you think maybe.
Is it clicked into it? Is there anything?
Yeah, that's what they told me.
I'm not seeing it.
It's that green cord right there, Chuck, that I got running from the laptop.
Here?
Yeah.
It's coming up to this.
Is this a sound button on it? Let's see. No. I hear it.
That's because it came
Came out.
unplugged it, so I can hold the microphone.
Yeah,
up here.
let's take it out and just, yeah.
All right, we'll restart that then.
Anyone who's been involved with the military knows that a successful mission doesn't just happen. It requires leadership, thoughtful planning, adequate resources, and accurate intelligence. There must also be a unified commitment to the mission. For those who have served in the military, the planning and operational process is driven by a mission order, also known as an operations order. The standardized 5-paragraph format is used by most U.S. military forces: situation, mission, execution, sustainment, and command and control. Whether you were a soldier, sailor, Marine, airman, or Coast Guardsman, at some point, regardless of rank, you have been part of an operations order. This planning structure was designed to achieve success, save lives and resources, and prevent disorder, even under difficult conditions. It has stood the test of time. Each year, tens of thousands of veterans transition back to their families and communities. Many have specific goals in mind, and with appropriate support, they make the transition smoothly. Others, however, return home without a clear mission. Some also have the baggage of difficult military experiences. These include the influences of post-traumatic stress, traumatic brain injury, and physical impairments. These and other damaging influences can make the transition difficult, or in some cases, overwhelming. Without a good plan and adequate support, the stress of reintegration becomes more than some can bear. For a growing number of returning veterans, becoming engaged in agricultural production has provided them with a new operations order for their next mission. They have learned to grow healthy food, nurture livestock, and market the fruits of their labor. Agriculture has become a pathway from their difficult past experiences to becoming contributors to the prosperity, health, and sustainability of their communities.
I think farming is a great option for veterans because we're not afraid of hard work and we won't quit. Farming is incredibly difficult. I just think it's a good fit because coming back from all that trauma and loss, and there's something very grounding and therapeutic about working the earth sustainably. It's good, meaningful work, and it's also the next mission.
As military veterans, we're always looking for that next mission. And with farming, I think that mission is to provide healthy food to our communities. So I think farming is a way to reconnect with something positive in yourself. It's a chance to plant that seed, hatch that egg, and see something new life come out of that. And it provides healing and also an opportunity to really kind of push outside yourself. And I think it's just a positive experience. But yet it's also challenging. It keeps you kind of moving, getting out of bed every single day. A lot of people with PTSD and some issues coming out, it's really hard to kind of get that motivation every day to get up, get moving. And with farming, you have to do it.
The farmer veterans you're about to hear from have successfully applied many of the principles of an operations order to help them achieve their next mission. Instead of using military force, they've captured the forces of the sun, air, soil, and rain to achieve greater health and security for those around them.
From 2003 to 2007, I served in the Marines as an infantryman and deployed 3 times. I went to Haiti in 2004 on a military mission, and then twice to Iraq between 2005 and 2006. I had 2 traumatic brain injuries in 14 hours and a number of physical issues as well. When I got out of the service, I was only 22 years old and had a lot of difficulties reintegrating.
I first started the farm in 2012 after moving here from Florida. I had previously been a nurse, both civilian and in the military. Actually served in the Air Force between 2004 and 2006. I was deployed between 2005 and 2006. I had a lot of issues when I came home. I had struggled with PTSD from some of my experiences and really had a hard time connecting with people again and with basically connecting with life again. I really didn't get started in farming until after my husband, who was also in the military, was diagnosed with colon cancer. And at that time, we started looking at diet and how our food was grown and looking at the importance of nutrition in our lives. And at that time, we started going and visiting local farms where we were at and buying local food and buying organic food and really looking at improving our diet.
I did 9 years active duty regular Army in Fort Hood, and did 2 tours to Iraq, one in 04 to 05, and then again in 06 through 08, both times in Baghdad. I got back that year in 08 and was having some difficulties with TBI and a lot of the explosions that we were in. So just in an effort to fix my system, I was eating healthier, learning about organics. So I tilled up my backyard, I got into gardening, and absolutely fell in love with it. It was everything I needed. It was physical therapy, it was mental therapy, I was learning something new every day.
So I'm a Desert Storm veteran. After Desert Storm, spent a full time of 11 years in the U.S. Army. And got out PTSD and all those things that soldiers have when they leave combat. And stressful situations like that. And getting back into farming is actually what started my healing process. So actually dealing with the cycle of life and death, and how all those things occur in our food cycle is something that we're very familiar with in the military. So getting back into that cycle of life and actually getting my hands into it and having some control over how life and death works here and the management of our animals and the life cycle of our animals was our healing process. Helps me every day.
Determining what the next mission is for a transitioning service member may be the most difficult task. The who, what, where, and why of the mission may take research, study, trial and error, or a circuitous route.
Unfortunately, in 2011, my husband died, and at that time, I had to figure out really how to start a new life. And the one thing that kept popping up during that time was, go and farm.
Yeah, I was learning something new every day. I was my own boss, I made my own hours, I could work as long as I needed to. I was doing all that while going to school, and we were like, well, why don't we sell at restaurants? We went ahead and just ramped up for our yards, tilled every space we could available, and started Eat the Yard, which is our for-profit entity. And it was just great, meaningful work, and work that we were very passionate about. So the benefits are, I love what I do.
And I remember, like, when I took my shoes off, I went into the garden and I just started digging trenches and piling up the soil to make a raised bed. And it's just like there was something in me that clicked, and it just, everything made sense. And what I was feeling emotionally didn't matter. My experience prior to that didn't matter. It's just what mattered was being right there in that soil and that state, and just kind of forming these beds to grow vegetables in. And for me, being in the fields was my reintegration. I didn't get that for humans. For me, working with the plants, working with the trees and going outside is what brought me home. My wife, my kids, my animals, they were reasons to want to get better, to feel okay in the skin. And it's really the plant community that helped me do that.
We started with cattle as our first production model or revenue stream for the farm because it was the easiest one to do and it didn't have to be here every day. So we needed to put up good fencing. And then every other day we'd be coming out, check on our animals. We knew how much feed we needed to have here, how much hay we needed, how much grass we had. That was the first revenue stream. And now we're building our house. As soon as the house is done, we have freshwater mussels going in, we have rabbit greenhouse going in, all of it completely sustainable and that's great.
It's not easy in the beginning, given that we were doing a lot of smaller plots, there was a lot of driving around and with minimal personnel and just starting out and establishing yourself in the community, as far as, you know, what your market is and getting to know the chefs, if it's the chefs, or getting into the farmer's market and learning all that stuff. It's incredibly difficult, and the growing itself, you know, just the day to day, depending on your injuries and what you're struggling with, it can be a huge challenge. But just not having the know-how, I mean, if you don't have experience and you are truly just starting out as a beginning farmer, we learned through so much trial and error and crop losses and pests, and it's just, it can get discouraging, but I think that's why veterans are a good fit for farming. I mean, we don't quit, we never give up, so.
In January 2012, I took the plunge and moved here to Indiana and started out that spring buying my 5 chickens from Tractor Supply at the Chick Days, and kind of how it all began. It all just kind of snowballed from there. I started buying fruit trees, I started planting gardens, and really became addicted to chickens and to poultry. And now we have over 1,000 chickens, turkeys, and ducks, and I absolutely love them. They have fantastic personalities, but really found that getting my hands in the dirt and working with animals and seeing life come back in was just really healing and very, very powerful. In farming, people love to work together. I think they love to help each other, and it's really important to build that community, just like in the military. You know, we relied on each other so much. You know, it's all about taking care of your brother and helping each other, you know, through whatever you're going through. And in farming, it's the same way. And there's a lot of people that want to help, so don't do it alone.
And I ended up linking up with people with AgrAbility, and that has been really wonderful because it's not just working with veterans, that's working with people who have disability, all types of disabilities, they all have different types of backgrounds, they're all finding different things. And that is amazing to me that this project has gotten people to continue their livelihood how it was before. And I'm very honored to be able to work in fields and knowing that there are all these groups and organizations who are working every day to make efforts to see to it that people can farm, that veterans can farm.
I agree. As an agency and AgrAbility have provided us a lot of physical resources that we didn't understand. Things that we needed to know to grow better crops. And over the last 8 years of owning the farm, we've learned a lot of things.
I'm in the process of developing a veterans regenerative agricultural program to teach them different methods of farming. Whether it's a mushroom operation or it's, you know, large scale arugula culture operations or rotational grazing, whatever it is, to have them be involved with these different methods of farming and gardening that they can then apply or adapt to their own setting. Also act as kind of like, not primarily, but, you know, a horticultural therapy program as well within that.
We started Farm, which is Farmers Assisting Returning Military, and it's our nonprofit where we do outreach to at-risk veterans, whether it's at-risk of suicide, homelessness, or dependency. We bring them in, put them through dirt therapy, recreational therapy, and we now actually have in-house therapy through trauma resolution and memory resolution on-site at the farm. So they work together on the farm, they go out on hiking, biking, camping, fishing trips, whatever it is, together, and they go through that therapy process together here at the farm. We're trying to structure it as an internship so they get educational benchmarks and we can help them either seek a career in farming, our hope is they'll start their own farm, and we help them through that process as well. Whether it's helping them with a business plan or just good old fashioned pulling everybody together, farm raising, air site, chicken coops, tractors, fencing, whatever it is.
One of the things that we're going to do on our farm is allow veterans to come here and work on the farm for just to heal. So gaining access to that and giving veterans, other veterans, the ability to create a farm, a new place where they can come heal and relax and release all that stress. In those times when they're really stressed out and really freaked out about things going on that they won't talk about to anyone other than veterans. The farm is a great place to do that.
It is also important to realize that veterans with all types of functional limitations can participate in agriculture. With the right technology and assistance from groups like AgrAbility, the VA, and state vocational rehabilitation systems, what seems unreachable can become attainable.
By trade, I'm an electrician, but then I became disabled, so I went back to my old natural roots and my love of farming and gardening. So now I'm now raising poultry. And with the help of AgrAbility, I've been able to get resources and find ways to make my disability, which transfers my life, which is an information I'm strong for, to make my life and daily activities go a lot simpler. Which now I can find things that help me move people with ease. The challenges that I face is which I deliver every day with, it's just through the grace of God, spending the ability of the day. Mobility, sensitivity,
and all kinds of things. Arthritis, but in fact, lifting, opening things, holding things a certain way. I can't do
To
that.
help out here. Are there any veterans in the room?
To help.
I thank you all so much for your service.
I don't have to go inside.
Everybody, come on. We can do something. Yeah. We're already. We are it's an honor to be here with you. Dr. Boyd, earlier, he said that, in his opening remarks, he said that everything about farming is bad from a public perspective, and that's something that really struck me this morning. I grew up on my grandfather's farm in a small rural town, and I too was full of I'm good. And I don't know how to do that. So naturally, so I grew up, I took the first opportunity I could to get out of there. And for me, that opportunity for escape was the same as for folks like me in rural communities, that was the military. And it is a disproportionate number of our military comes from rural farming communities. 16% of our population in the United States lives in rural America, and 40% of our military comes from rural America. And then they come home and have to move to urban areas to find employment. I had the privilege personally of serving in the Old Guard in Washington, D.C., where I spent most of my days performing funerals for fallen soldiers. Very quickly after I got out of the service, I just bounced around all over the place, trying to find my place in the world, trying to find what I was running from or where I was running to or whatever it was I was doing in my dispossession. And so I want to say I worked with a lot of really cool veterans, and we saw a video that Chuck played with a lot of veterans doing amazing things with these amazing stories. But as to why they're farming, mine is not that cool, but I'm going to tell it because I think it bears telling. In 2006, in my search for who I was and what I was going to be, I met a young lady in Kentucky, and we were touring the farm, and she said on the drive home, she said, farmers are really sexy. And the next day I called that farmer and I said, hey, is there any chance I could come out and do a little bit of work for you? And, well, in 2008, we started our family farm full time, and I ended up figuring out that I was running in a giant circle to get back where I started as a young teenager. But we have made a commitment to ourselves that we wanted to raise our children on the farm like we had grown up. And so much of us are looking for something and hope. Now, in 2012, this became very, very personal for me. My younger brother served multiple tours, but on his last tour, my younger brother, Fred Curtis, was shot in the back of his head on his 7th tour in Afghanistan. He survived. It's not that awful of a story. It's very fortunate, but he came home with a very severe traumatic brain injury. The circumstance, won't go into the circumstance of how he got out of the military, all of that, but circumstances mandated that him and his family come home to the farm. And they stayed with us. And one day, this was 2012, I would go to the garden because this young man that I had grown up with, I did not recognize, did not know my brother, I did not like him. And I couldn't wait to get away from him. And it was a Tuesday morning. He started coming down the hill. And I saw him and I thought to myself, gosh, just go back up to the house. This is my time. This is it, you know. It's the only time I have. But he came down and I, you know, in my hand, I would make the best of it. And so we spent a couple hours trellising tomatoes together. And it was in that moment that I looked up. And for the first time since he'd been home, I realized that I spent the last hour tying tomatoes with my younger brother. And that was the start of my working with horticultural therapy in veterans and veterans. The one thing that I learned that day was agriculture heals. It heals us all. It brings us all back together. It reminds us who we are. It reminds us why we're here. So when I got the call about a year ago that the University of Kentucky was looking for a project director or coordinator for the Kentucky AgrAbility project, it was a very natural fit for me. And again, I don't want to take a lot of your time, but I would like to brag on a little bit of the work that's happened in Kentucky. When the University of Kentucky and the Kentucky Department of Agriculture, we launched the Homegrown by Heroes label, which we saw a little earlier. We also launched a Job for Vets program that incentivizes farmers for hiring veterans and giving them a place to work and heal. And, you know, I just encourage you all, if you see a veteran, give them an opportunity, give them a space. I don't want to take any more time unless, you know, I'm going to be here with Chuck back at the table. I'm happy to answer any of the questions about the horticultural therapy that we're doing in Kentucky on VA campuses, with drug rehab, with rehabilitation facilities for amputees. But there's a lot of opportunities. There's a lot of veterans looking for work, and I feel like it's our job as citizens to make sure that when they come home to those rural communities, we don't push them out